Well, here we are at step 10 already. For those of you who are just tuning in, my name's Tom. I'm one of the pastors here at Northside Christian Church. We've been taking you through the Christian Recovery 12 steps. We are on the 10th step today. And as I said last week, we've gotten way too far into the steps for me to kind of do a run through. Just to remind you that we're coming from 8 and 9 where we forgave people and then asked for forgiveness and made a plan for how to fix some of our broken relationships and make up for the mistakes of our past. And now we are into the 3 steps that are really dealing with moving from the present and into the future. So we're assuming at this point that you have worked steps 1 through 9, that you've dealt with your past or are in the midst of dealing with it. And that's probably something important I should say right here about step 10, that step 10 doesn't have to wait until you've done every single amends on step 9. In fact, if you do that, for some people that entire process takes years to complete. So I would actually recommend once you've started into 9, your sponsor or accountability partner feels like you've done what you need to do, you have an idea of where you're going, how to make these amends, then you can jump right into doing 10. So let's talk about 10. 10 says, we continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. The we here is just a reminder that we're in a program together. We're not doing this alone, that we're assuming everybody who is working the 12 steps is continuing to take inventory. And so we're just reminded again that we're not doing this process by ourselves. By now, if you haven't been familiar with recovery before, you've picked up the need for a sponsor and an accountability partner, and we might do a video here in the future kind of outlining what to look for in a sponsor or accountability partner, but just know that you're doing this in concert with other people. The continuation is a reminder that we have done this before in step 4. The big difference, and I've kind of already alluded to the difference, is that this is for now and into the future. When we did step 4, we're really dealing with the issues of the past. This is to help us not have to do a 4 and 5 again. This is going to help us keep now cleaned up, keep ourselves dredged out. And that continuation is to take, and I like to stop here even with the word take and say, this is action. This is not going to just be intellectual consent. And I can say even I fall into this trap sometimes. Because I've been around recovery a long time, because I've taken the steps, I tend to think, well, if I just kind of think through my day, but it really is helpful to get that pen and paper out, to consult with your sponsor, accountability partner, to really help you think deeply about the things going on in your life. But that take word just means you're doing something here. This doesn't stop at intellectual consent. And then the reminder is that what we're taking is a personal inventory. And I can star that inventory. Personal means while other people may do us harm, other people may have a part to play, I can't do much about them, if anything. But I can do a whole lot about what I do wrong and what's going on in my life. And so the inventory I'm taking is mine. I'm talking about my issues. And I won't go into a lot of unpacking the word inventory. Just again, that reminder that we're doing something similar to what we did in step 4, that we're taking stock of our lives. And if you do this on a daily basis, the way it's encouraged to do it, you'll really find that you are closer to the Lord, that you have better relationships, and that you just kind of feel better about yourself on a regular basis. And then we have a conjunction word here, and or a plus. So you can kind of think of it as a whole made up of 2 parts. This is one step, but the 2 parts are, we continue to take that inventory, and the second part, the additional part, when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. When means the time that it takes place. So it tells us a couple of things. When we were wrong, we're going to be wrong. It doesn't say if you're wrong, it says when you're wrong. And I don't know about you, I'm probably wrong at some level on a daily basis. So when we were wrong, it also tells us you're not always wrong. And I have to tell people this a lot who come in for counseling to the church. A lot of us, especially people in recovery, deal with low self-esteem in the sense that everything they're bad and everything bad that happens is their fault. And that's just not true. That's a lie that Satan likes to kind of worm his way into and just kind of dig at you with. And that's not true either. So it's when we were wrong. You might inventory a situation during the day, and you talk to your sponsor, and your sponsor goes, I don't really see anything that you did wrong here. If you want to apologize or if you want to approach the person, you can, but you didn't do anything per se that needs amends. So that's really important, and I think it's overlooked a lot, when we were wrong. And then it says promptly. That basically means now or ASAP, right? As soon as possible. And then what does it want us to do as soon as possible? To admit it. Right? To admit it first to ourselves. Who are the three entities out of the steps? Ourselves, God, and another human being. And this is no different. So to God, we're going to admit it to God, to ourselves, and another human being. And I didn't put God on there first, but I should have. Why? Because God already knows. We're admitting it to God, and we're getting real, but God already knows. So we put God first. And then we got to be real with ourselves. What's going on? I'm taking this inventory. Why did I snap at that person at work today? What was really going on with me? What was the fear? Was I fearful that they didn't care about me? Was I fearful I would look silly? Why did I do that? Why did I snap at somebody? So I'm looking at those issues, I'm getting at them. And then when I've got that figured out, I might go to my sponsor or accountability partner. But the other human being might also be the other person. You know, if I was walking down the hall and it was crowded and I went over to the side and I stepped on somebody's foot, I don't need my sponsor to tell me that I should apologize to that person for stepping on their foot. And I know that might seem like a silly example, but what I'm encouraging you is that as we walk through recovery, as we mature emotionally and spiritually, we don't have to go to our sponsors or accountability partners with every little thing that happens in our life. God will give us the intuition. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. That's a quote from Recovery Program, that we will begin to know how to handle these things. If we don't, we should go to our sponsor or accountability partner. But most of the time, we're going to know, I need to go to this person. I need to make a very, very quick and very much face-to-face apology and do my best to not do this again. Now, here's another possibility. Another possibility is that this is something that was overlooked or didn't come up on your fourth and fifth step. This might be a character defect or an issue that actually needs to go through the steps. If that's the case, then I'm going to encourage you not to run to that person and make an amends right away. I don't have time here to share a story, but I'll tell you I've been through this myself where my internal prompting was to go immediately and apologize. And when I went to my sponsor said, you need to sit with that, and then we need to talk about it. And the reason I needed to sit with it is I needed to feel the full weight of the guilt that came from doing this thing I shouldn't have done. And then I talked to my sponsor about it and realized it was a pattern in my life. And if I had gone to this person, even if I never did it to them again, I would continue to do it because I hadn't really addressed the root. The other possibility is, if this is a person I have an ongoing relationship with, my apology becomes empty because I'm going to go to them and I'm going to apologize for this thing, and then I'm going to turn around and do it again anyway. So the other thing that daily inventory might bring up for us is something that hasn't been addressed that needs to be addressed. And so you can kind of see how this is going to move you from the present into the future. Now, it doesn't mean we won't ever, ever, ever have to do another fourth and fifth step, because we're not perfect. We won't do this perfectly, and sometimes things slip by and those layers begin to build up again. But what this will do, especially with your closest relationships, your spouse, significant other, your kids, your friends, your coworkers, the people that you're with on a daily basis, is this will continue to keep those relationships clean and open and healthy. And so there is no one right way to do this. I do have some questions that will probably accompany this step just to kind of help you, but really just following your sponsor, your faith, reading the scripture and what it says and how we're supposed to live, and just the act of doing this. But remember, we are taking an action. This isn't just, oh yeah, that's how my day was, I'll try to do better tomorrow. It really is being active in our program. So I want to thank you for tuning in today. I can't believe that we're getting so close to the end of our trip through the steps together. Hope this has been helpful. God bless you all. Have a great day.